Hello, hello everyone. Good afternoon, maybe good evening, maybe even good morning for all of you listening to us around the globe. Today we have a very special episode of Vibe Space with DROdio, CEO of Storytell AI. He's going to be sharing all of his wisdom, knowledge, tips and tricks for all of the founders and AI specialists out there building in this new wave of the AI industry. Welcome, DROdio. It's great to have you here.
Boa tarde. It's good to be here.
Opa, boa tarde, boa noite. Would you like to introduce yourself so that the community can know a bit more about yourself, a trajectory, and what you're building?
Yeah, sure. I'm DROdio. I'm based in San Francisco, California, and I am an AI founder. I'm the CEO of Storytell, and I have been a founder for about 20 years. I actually worked in Latin America when I first got out of college. I worked for General Electric. I worked in Sao Paulo. I worked in Argentina. So, I have a lot of love for Latam and the people and culture, amazing, amazing people, especially Brazil was just incredible. And then I've been doing startups in the US for about 20 years. So love building and scaling companies. I'm a Y Combinator founder from 2017. And I'm happy to talk about what it takes to build a startup and, have a lot of scar tissue from having done it. And I can tell you a lot of things not to do. Might be some of my best advice is what not to do. I've got three kids, three young kids. Love taking them out camping and spending a lot of time outdoors. And yeah, I'm just excited to be a resource for founders.
Well, that's great. Sometimes the story of what not to do is even more important than what to do, right?
Totally.
So let me put you in spotlight here, and let me hear more about your origin story, Jordi, for Laos. How did you get the idea of putting together an AI platform back in 2022, right? Where ChatGPT was just out there, and people were speaking about these LLMs and transformers and all. How did you get this idea out of the paper and started Storytell AI, and grew it to be what it is nowadays?
Yeah, my previous company was a cloud infrastructure company. We were doing a DevOps startup called Armory, and we were working with very large companies as customers. So our customers included JP Morgan Chase and Snap and Sony and just all these very large companies. And as I was scaling Armory and as I was working with these huge companies, I just kept coming across the same problem over and over and over again, which is that there's a mess of data inside of companies that is chaotic and lives in people's heads. It lives in different systems of record that we, affectionately refer to as data swamps. There's just data everywhere. And it basically is unusable. Um, and I just thought, what if it were possible to turn all of that unstructured data into a strategic asset? What could become true? What could people do with that? And I was just very excited about the possibilities of empowering humans with all of the data that we kind of just let fall on the floor today. The problem is that the data isn't normalized. Companies spend a lot of money trying to put this data into data warehouses. They do a lot of ETL and a lot of work to try to get data into a format that they can query it using SQL, et cetera. Um, but the reality is that most of the data will never live in a data warehouse. It will never be put into a normalized format to be able to be queried in structured ways. And so before AI, there was really no way to make all of this chaotic, unstructured data usable. And by chaotic, unstructured data, I'm talking about things like that hour-long Zoom call that the salesperson was just on. And imagine you're a product manager at a company and you're building a product, and the salesperson was just talking to a customer who's complaining about a feature. You'll probably never hear about that as the product manager. You'll probably never know that salesperson talked to that customer who's complaining about the thing that you're trying to fix, that you're trying to build. Um, Even if you did know about it, the best thing you could probably do is go listen, like go watch the hour-long Zoom call and try to find the spot where that 30 seconds of conversation happened. And the idea that I had was like, what if it were possible to push that 30 seconds of video into the Jira ticket or the linear ticket of that product manager? What if that little bit of signal could be pushed to that person so it just shows up and it feels like magic? Like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that the salesperson was having this conversation, but I just got pushed some important information that helps me do my job better. And so that's the kind of thing that I mean by making unstructured data valuable. AI has made it possible to do things like that. And it's a magical thing to have signal pushed to you instead of you having to go out and search through messy, chaotic data to try to find it. And anyway, that's the hypothesis, the genesis behind Storytell, is to do data-driven storytelling with unstructured data that is otherwise useless.
So you had this idea since Amory, and then when you let's say you, of course, you did not start working in the idea inside Amory, but you had this in your mind as a problem. And when did you think that this would be enough for going out there and make this a product? It was in 2022. You had a co-founder that bought the idea, because this genesis moment is so important for the founders, right? When to call it like a thing. So,
Yeah.
how did it happen for you?
Well, I had the pain when I was at Armory, right? I always believe that users know their pain. They don't necessarily know the solution. They often think they do. It's your job as a builder to find the right scalable solution to the pain that people have. And so I didn't know the solution at that point, but I definitely felt the pain. I felt the pain as I was scaling Armory, and I saw the pain inside these large companies that were very siloed. And I also worked in a very siloed large company, General Electric, when I was at the beginning of my career. So, I've just had a lot of exposure to the pain. I think I also like to say, like, you should not create a startup unless you can't not start it. You just keep thinking about it. You just keep turning a problem over in your head, and you're so passionate about solving it. And I mean, startups are hard journeys. I mean, like, by definition, when you're starting a company, people think whatever you're doing is a bad idea, or else they would be doing it themselves. So, like, the world thinks whatever you want to do is a bad idea. By definition, that is what a startup is, right? And so it is a painful, long journey to turn that pain that you're feeling or that you see people feeling into the right solution. It requires a lot of experimentation and shots on goal iteration. So I felt the pain when I was at Armory. And it wasn't until I started to see that AI had turned a corner and then it might be possible for AI to be a solution to that pain that I really got excited about building Storytell. And the big shift there was the beginnings of LLMs as a service. Before, if you were doing AI before 2022, you had to spend $3 to $5 million to just stand up a cluster to even be able to get to the point where you could start to test things and try to, have something useful. And so as we started having API access, and so this was before Chat GPT, but there was the beginnings of OpenAI having a playground with APIs, and it became obvious for those of us that were close to that progress that it was now going to be possible to basically get intelligence by the drink, right? To be able to get intelligence through an API. And that's where I started to think, oh my gosh, it might actually be possible. It was actually a co-founder of mine that convinced me that AI was ready to start trying. And I don't think AI was really ready. I mean, it really hasn't. I mean, as we've all experienced, the past 6 months have been completely different than the couple years before that. So we're just really starting to enter the steep part of the curve now.
It's going exponential, right? So there was two things. There was a combination of you feeling ready, or actually not being able to dismiss this idea. So you were constantly reminded of yourself that you had to solve this pain. And then you had a co-founder that would prove the concept of using those LLMs for building what's like the core of Storytell AI nowadays, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I just wanted to pick a brain on there. You spoke about these soft skills of like enduring and this willpower of actually building that when everyone else is calling this a bad idea. Do you want to expand a little more of that? Because I know you have a very good backstory. like against all of the stereotypes that we see AI founders out there, like California now getting funded by VC firms. You do have a very different story, and you prove that kind of anyone in the globe can now, if putting enough effort, if having the correct skills and doing the correct path, can do something outstanding like you did, right? So, what would be these soft skills that you would highlight for founders out there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack in that question. So maybe just to give a little bit of context, I didn't come out until 2010 is when I came out to San Francisco, and so I was working on the East Coast of the U.S. before that, and then Latin America, like I was saying. Um, there is something very special about the Valley. I think as a founder, there's so many things that are out of your control that it's important to be able to optimize for the things that are in your control. And so every startup has its own ecosystem. If it's tech, it's Silicon Valley. If it's finance, it's New York. Things like that, where it's helpful to try to optimize for all the variables that you can control because there are a few of them. And so I'm very happy to have come out to Silicon Valley. My father was an immigrant. I didn't, I didn't have a lot growing up. I had to make my own money and pay for college myself and all that. So um, I think I just learned about the importance of optimizing for the variables that you can control. When you're out here, when you're in the Valley, raising money is not the hard part. There's a lot of money out here. The hard part, and the thing that I think that I see founders get wrong the most, is thinking that they deserve to be funded. Everybody has an idea. Ideas are not all that valuable. If you think your idea is valuable, you should just sell the idea. Just find someone to buy the idea. If your idea is really worth something, just sell it. Sell it to somebody. See how much money you can sell your idea for. You probably won't be able to sell it for very much, but if you can, you've saved yourself a decade of work. And and so, it's really all about the execution. And investors look for that. In Y Combinator, there's just a saying that is just reiterated, build something people want. But the flip side of that is to be able to say, hey, it's already working. It's already working. We already have a prototype. We already have traction. We already have a wait list of people that want this thing. It's just being able to show that it's already working. And you need to do that before you get the investor. The investor will invest in the thing that's already working. You're lucky if you find an investor that invests in the idea. That will work if you have a track record, if you've previously built companies, exited. But if you don't have a track record of having done that successfully, then you need to show that it's already working before you go try to raise money. And I think that's the thing that I see founders get wrong the most often.
Yeah, the proof that you can actually execute, right?
Mhm.
I see that a lot. So if I could get it correctly, it's not everyone. Let's say you go to California, go to the Silicon Valley, you increase your chances of getting funded, of course, but not everyone will be funded. You shouldn't be entitled. Oh, I deserve to be funded, right? So the key aspects is if you have a track record, maybe you can present that. If not, you should prove that you have execution, maybe early stage prototype or demo, something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
The
wonderful.
thing that you
Maybe
get
that's
the thing you get in Silicon Valley is serendipity.
yeah,
There's a level of serendipity out here that it's just like it's you can't replicate it elsewhere. My first office was in this shared space, and I just happened to meet a founder who happened to recommend this office, and that office happened to be next to this little group called Venture Hacks, which was Nevi and Naval, who created AngelList. We were one of the first people to fundraise on AngelList back in 2011, maybe. The office next to that was this guy who would be fighting with his co-founder all day, and then he quit with that company, and I saw him in the lunchroom of the shared space, and he's like, I'm going to out Amazon. I'm going to do 1 hour delivery. And I'm like, nobody can out Amazon. And that was in like 2012. And that was Apoorva who made Instacart. And, you're just in that space. Like you're just around founders that are doing incredible things. And it's just very, very, very hard to replicate that elsewhere.
Yeah, that's true. So this kind of movement, being in the community, and surround yourself by like-minded people. If you're building in tech, you recommended the Valley, and if you're building in finance, it would be New York, I said, right?
Yeah, I think wherever the center of gravity is, if it's government, it's Washington D.C. in the U.S., right? That type of thing. Wherever the energy is. Maybe another way to think about it is where are the people that you can get excited about what you're doing who do have that track record if you don't have it yet? Where are those people that you could meet and learn from and be mentored by? Wherever those people are is where you should be.
Yeah. If anyone out there is building the barbecue industry, come to Brazil. People are really excited on that. Sorry for the jokes. So let's jump into the Storytell AI origin. Then you saw all of that scenery. You surrounded yourself by the important people. You had a co-founder that could prove you the actual state of AI, that you could use LLMs and all for that. And then how you did it, how you started Storytell, how you raised it, and how people can use Storytell nowadays.
Yeah, so Storytell, you can think about Storytell as a notebook LM on steroids. It is a platform that allows you to kind of crawl, walk, run. The crawl is you can load unstructured data in, so you can load in CSVs and Excel spreadsheets, which every CSV has its own schema. You can load in PDFs, you can load in audio, you can load in video, you can load in PowerPoints, etc. That there are large companies like Paramount that use Storytell to be able to make sense of otherwise incompatible data. So if you've got, for example, why is a show performing the way that it's performing? The what is Nielsen CSV data, the why is qualitative survey panel data, and those are not compatible with each other. You can't just query those with SQL, but you can ask natural language questions in Storytell about incompatible data and get some incredible answers back. Storytell is also very good at mixing internal data with external data. So for example, right before this call, we were using Storytell together to do some things. And Storytell, I think I heard you mention like, wow, Storytell's so good at finding things on public web.
May I share this with the stream? I could share the
Sure.
Storytell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me show you guys. We have a couple dozen people watching us here. So we have kind of a inception scenario, because before the interview, Georgia was preparing this. Actually, sorry, this tab. She was preparing the content by doing research with Storytell AI on how to go over this interview. So, for example, the backstory, the career arc from DROdio, out of these amazing companies, I Combinator, now Storytell AI, the product, what the product can do. And I do have all of these bullet points here. Let me increase the zoom a bit so you can see it as well. I do have all of the bullet points here. And the impressive part is that I did not input all of this data myself. It was web search, but very precise web search, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Jordi.
No,
You did not
that's right.
upload any data. This was only web search here, right?
Yeah, Storytell is
And
very good at finding social data, so like X, uh, public data, web data, SEC filings. I mean, we're very good at bringing all that in. Again, it's all unstructured data, right? To be able to work with it.
yeah, and the point you were pointing out was when I was looking at the vibe coding information you took from Vibe Space. Let me see if I can find it here quickly. I guess I scrolled through it, but it could get all of the public information from a Vibe Space from the social media. Let me do a quick search here. Vibe Space. Yeah. So you could get the launch date here, the format. We only have two formal interviews in the calendar with this name. Before I was using the venture minded name, as you know, in the channel. Also, Storytell AI could get my co-host Augusto. He's from the company, but I usually don't put it in the Lumas, and also you could find actually maybe from the YouTube transcribes or something like that. And got the pitch days, which is another unstructured data. We did not link that in the Luma description as well. So this wasn't actually loaded in the chat at all. It wasn't uploaded. You could just find information out there. Last interviews we did, like Anthony Rose with Sanju, so it could find all of this information and bring here. That's quite impressive. I would take at least an hour, half an hour to assemble that. The AI agents that you could do kind of one shot here. This is not promotional material. This is genuine expression for myself. I'm basically repeating what I said before we were live, right, Jordan?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, we have users that tell us that they feel like superheroes when they're using Storytell, and I just get a lot of joy from empowering and enabling humans to be more effective at whatever jobs they need to get done, because they can use this unstructured data in ways where before it was completely unusable or inaccessible. So
Yeah. And I had a very good idea here. Since the community is mostly about founders in early stage using AI to build the first prototypes, to do the execution, like you said, that is super important. I had this idea: Storytell AI could be used to actually research about investors or research about customers and markets, and use it as a tool to actually practice pitching or to do introductions to clients and VCs and all. How would you recommend people using Storytell AI for that?
I've got the perfect answer for that. Are you willing to share your screen one more time? I'll show you, and we can try it together. So if you hit new chat on the top
Okay.
left, there is a section called the prompt launchpad. So the prompt launchpad is right below the prompt. So yep, if you open up the prompt launchpad, and any Storytell user, you can just go to storytell.ai and you can open up the prompt launchpad. Then there are a set of featured prompts. So do you see where it says prompt launchpad featured? It says featured work, play, life. There's 9 featured prompts. One of those featured prompts, on the right side, it says have the most effective meeting of your life. And it's that one right there. So go ahead and click on that prompt. So this is a one-click prompt, meaning the prompt has already been written for you. All you have to do is fill in a couple fields, and Storytell will go do deep research on whoever you're going to be meeting with. Like if you're going to be meeting with an investor, you just start to fill it out. In fact, if you start filling your name out, Matthias, you'll see that Storytell will fill it out in a bunch of places. So you just put it in the first spot and it fills it out everywhere, right? And so if you're going to be meeting with an investor, use this to go have the most effective meeting of your life. Yeah.
Okay, adventure. Let me say I'm doing that on behalf of 5 space. Okay. And does it suggest people for me to reach out to?
No, well, I would recommend that people use this before a meeting. So you have a meeting on the calendar and you're going to be meeting with an investor tomorrow or in 2 days. And the question is, how do you make really good use of that time? And so this is
No, go on. It's just that I had in mind that it would search for some, but this is exactly, I have a person. For example, I have Daniel Green here in the chat saying that this is very cool. So let's say I want to meet Daniel, the chapter lead of AI Collective Kansas, and I want a very good introduction to him.
Great. So if you want to meet with Daniel, like if you have a meeting scheduled with Daniel, then you would just fill in, I am meeting with, Daniel Green. And what you're basically doing with this is you don't have to do the heavy lifting, right? Storytell will do the heavy lifting to go research their likely priorities and go research you and tell you where you have overlap.
Like to build cool stuff with his chapter. Maybe something like that. I'm going to leave it blank, but imagine that you would refine this, right? And as
Great.
you were saying, Storytel would fill up the prompt with all of this
Right.
information, right?
Yeah. Go
Okay.
for it. Yeah.
Should I hit
Just
send?
hit send. Yeah.
Okay. Daniel, if you're watching, I might connect with you soon, brother, with a very well composed email.
So if you scroll down a little bit, we can actually watch it work. So scroll down so we can see the reasoning process here. And
Okay,
so
it did some web search, 2 web searches. It did
yep,
some reasoning. Nice. Tool calling,
it found
knowledge
Daniel. You can
base.
see it says I found Daniel. And so the idea with Storytel is it's not so much about a chat response. It's more about you're creating these declarative end statements, right? Like, I have a meeting with Daniel. I want it to be awesome. Go off and do some work and tell me how to make it great. And what you can do at the top, you see it says that Storytel can notify you. At the very top is a bar. You can turn on notifications, and then you just go off and do other things, and then it'll notify you. And so here we go. We can take a look here.
Wonderful. And it's generating very well. So it's doing research about Daniel. It knows me a bit from the previous research, the previous data that what we had in the chat, and then it is suggesting some possible action items. That's very impressive. Genuine impression. That's super cool.
Yeah.
If you're watching there, Daniel, let me know if this would be a good meeting schedule. Using you as a volunteer here.
Scroll down a bit more, Matez. I'd be curious to see what else it has to say. What a great
Okay.
outcome looks like. Yep. You leave the meeting with one concrete small co-design project.
Okay.
There's a few ideas about what projects could look like.
Yeah, I did 9. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know Daniel has been hosting some of these.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Where you might have differing priorities and what to do about it.
Yeah. But this is great because a lot of times we enter a meeting with an objective in mind, but we don't do the research before to see if the other party would be willing to do that or would be feasible. We meet so many people in the day, right? We don't have this much time to do this much research. This could be very, very helpful.
Potential interests you share.
Craft
Three
a
wild
community
ideas.
building.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just curious to see the next section down, the 3 wild ideas worth discussing.
Okay, run a no slides allowed, build a night. Oh, that's cool. We do that often. Advice space. Okay, like this proposal. Wild idea to create a community intelligence layer. Train AI and combine community knowledge. We could use Storytell AI for
Really
that.
Storytell
Get
for that,
all
yeah.
of the data inside of it. Would be very cool. And merging members onboarding, joining the AI collective Kansas. Okay, that could be cool. Could be a cool one because there are some overlap things that we could do together. Introduction events that we could do. Those 3 wild ideas are good. Not that wild, like crazy after parties or something like that, but
Yeah.
but again, is it staying on topic, right?
Yeah, so that's Storytel. Now, this is Storytel just with public data, right? Storytel gets really valuable when you start adding your files into the library, and then you start to be able to work with them. So you don't have any files in here yet because we just made this project. But if you were to load in your past YouTube videos, for example, or anything, then you can start to get value from those things with Storytel.
Would it work if I upload my channel here, like the whole channel?
You can try. It's probably going to be a little bit. Try it. YouTube tends to be, like the best thing to do is probably going to be to ask Storytel to go consume all your YouTube content and
Okay.
then give you back a report on what it finds.
Okay. Let me see. Let me get my last demo day that we did, maybe. And this could be an easy to digest item there. Okay.
Yeah, let's see what is. Yeah, there's a little bit in here, but it's just it's yeah, okay, good. You got the transcript. Great.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah. And
So,
so
for example, if I chat with it and ask what were the best the top three demos,
great. Yeah.
something like that. Oh, I'm out of credits.
Oh.
Time to
Yeah.
swipe the credit card. We've
Right.
been
Yep.
having
Yeah.
too much joy. Now I gotta pay.
We give free users 10,000 credits and then they refill daily. So they refill 300 credits a day.
Okay, okay.
And
That's fair.
how about this? If anybody who's watching this would like me to load their account up with extra credits, just send me an email, DROdio@storytell.ai, and I'll load 50,000 more credits into your account to help you use it.
Let me do this right now, right? Just one second. Let me do a call out here for this if you want. Email for credits. And let me do like this. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. So well,
Nice.
that's cool. But I got the idea here. It's loading up
Yep.
data and then I can use this data inside chats, right?
Yep. Also, on the right side, you can see that it says expert lens. When you load data in, we actually look at the data that you loaded in, and then we tell you what some experts might say about that data. So you see on the right side, it says AI demo day, and then below that in the like brown box, it says
Ah,
expert
here. Yeah.
data analyst, systems architect, risk manager. We look at the kind of data that you upload and we recommend what would an expert ask about your data, and you can send those prompts as well.
Oh, nice. Well, we did have some judges in this event giving feedback for the founders pitching. Maybe we could have some of these experts from Storytell AI to give feedback for the pitches as well.
That would be really cool. Let me if you give me a minute while we're talking here, I'll get your account loaded up with more credits. It's gonna take me a second to do that.
No, yeah. While we did that, let me just explain that all of these perks of like credits and all are available for everyone in the community. So if you want to stay tuned to more of these events, if you want to follow the calendar, follow the community, you can subscribe here. This is our episode for today, DROdio. So you're going to find the calendar link here. You can subscribe for free, okay, as a builder. Doesn't ask much about yourself. You can subscribe for free as well as a founder, and then you tell me a bit more about what you're building. And as investor as well, we do some background check, and you're going to receive curated invites depending on the membership you have, and you're going to have opportunities of earning free credits like that. Who doesn't want 10,000 credits? Just draw your founder. Storytell AI is going to read and answer to your email, so that's a unique opportunity. Thank you, Jody, for that. And this is one of the perks of following our channel and being part of a community, right? So subscribe now if you did not yet and be part of this community.
Okay.
So, okay, let me know, Jody.
I am loading you up right now. So try refreshing your screen.
Okay.
Okay, you're back in business.
Okay. A lot of credits here.
Yep.
100,000 credits. Nice. And they refill daily, right? You told.
Yeah, they refill daily.
That's wonderful. So, which were the top three projects presented in this demo day?
And so you can see here now that you've started to put some knowledge into the project, it's putting that knowledge into scope.
Okay.
And now we can start to work with the files that you've uploaded.
So when doing web search, you could either look out for information that I don't have or use the files and links that I have uploaded before, right?
Right. So what you can do, if you look where the prompt is, there's a little pill. Oh, sorry, where you write a new prompt.
Like this.
Yeah, there's a little pill that says powering this chat, 2 files plus public data in the top left of
Ah,
the prompt.
here.
And so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how you can scope, and you can decide whether you want public data to be on or off. And so if you want public data to be on, then it will be included in the chat. And if you want it to be off, you can slide it off. So that's, you can kind of like decide if you just want to work with your data or if you want to work with public data. Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
Yep. I
Yeah,
think
so
the other,
I was just going to validate that I can combine the data that I have plus public data if I find
exactly.
the models not going to hallucinate, right?
Yep.
Wonderful.
And then if you look at the chats, I think that other chat that you just asked finished. We could look at that one.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Okay, so you pick the top three projects: Data to Inside AI, Dimash, Opulenta from Jeremy, and Bike Academy from Krasimir. Okay, AI had the top three picks here. All of these
Now,
good pitch of the day.
but yes, I'm gonna recommend something that we put you into advanced mode. There's something that I want to show you. If you go to the left nav, bottom left, where it has your MA, your little icon, there's a
Yeah.
gear. Click on that gear and go from regular mode to advanced mode.
Oh, I'm liking that.
And
Okay.
that's gonna add a few things. But one of the things that it adds, if you highlight, let's highlight the first answer. So just drag your mouse over it. Yep, you can do it that way. You can click on that little bolt icon, or you can highlight it. There's a lot of things you can do with that answer. One of the things that you can do, for example, is you can go deeper. And so there's a little button that says deeper. And if you click on that, what it's going to do, and you're welcome to try it, but it's going to take that little bit of answer and it's going to go way deeper. It's going to dig into the data to give you a much more in-depth answer. So you can go from like one bullet point into a whole page of data just by clicking that one button, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm thinking an investor looking for these pitches. He doesn't want they want to go over all of the pitches. They pick the top three, and then from
Right.
the top three they go deeper on each of those pitches to decide if they want to meet the founder or to invest
Exactly.
something like that. I could see that happening.
Yep, yep, yep. So this is going to do a much deeper analysis of that first one. Another interesting idea might be to take one of them and ask Storytell to go do some public data searching on it to give the founders some advice.
Oh, nice. Do you want me to wait for this
That's
to
up to you.
finish?
Yeah.
Okay, it's
And you're
almost finishing. So I would select a piece of text first and
Yep.
then prompt.
And I would say chat. So there's an option that says chat.
Okay.
Yep. And then you know what we can do here? We can start to use skills. So we can invoke skills in Storytell using the @ symbol. So I might say something like as an at, and then we can start typing in start doing like at like investor, like INV. Let's see, like investment analyst, for example. So
Wonderful.
as investment analyst, give me your perspective on this startup pitch, and also go search public data to see what kind of competitive landscape this founder might be up against, or something like that. So now we're using a skill, and we're breaking Storytell out of just the knowledge inside this project to go search externally.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Games. Okay. Type it as fast as I could. Let's
And so
see.
this is going to go into a pending prompt because the other prompt is still finishing.
Oh, okay. So queues one after the other.
The other one's still going. So you know how you said go deeper? Like it's going way deeper.
Yeah.
If you scroll, yeah, exactly. Yep. If you scroll down a bit, you'll see the other one's still going.
Yeah. Let me zoom out here. Yeah, this one is going. Yeah,
Going
as
way
the.
deeper, right?
Okay. Yeah, I finished it.
Okay, so try sending it now.
Okay. Oh, it's even suggesting improving the prompt. That's
Right.
amazing.
So we give you 5 recommended versions of the prompt that might be better than what you typed. And you can
That's fun.
people who don't write really sophisticated prompts tend to love this because it helps you write a really sophisticated prompt.
Yeah. They call it meta prompting, right? And they even suggested use SWOT here. That's smart. May we use this one using the
Sure.
SWOT analysis? Okay.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So it's like, and if I get it correct, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, DROdio, but this is like a full prompting suite with data powerhouse
Yep.
that would handle your data collection and management of files and all, plus the agentic flows of finding information up there, combining the information, meta prompting and skills and all of that.
That's right. Yep.
Amazing product. And I'm truly amazing. This is so cool. The example that we're using could be used by an actual investor doing due diligence on these
Oh,
projects.
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so you can see Storytell now is searching the web, for example. So it's going out, doing a bunch of web searches. Also, I should mention everything that we've been doing is in the kind of like simpler mode. There's an expanded mode called Deep Intelligence, which is for paying users. Deep Intelligence will spin up a fleet of multiple agents to go get jobs done. So when you are in your prompt, if you click on the prompt bar, you'll see that it says auto. Click on auto. So the automatic intelligence will go between fast and expert. And so that's basically like if you're using Anthropic's models, it's going between Haiku and Sonnet, for example. Deep
Okay.
Intelligence uses the best foundational models like Opus, but it spins up multiple agents. So Storytel can coordinate a fleet of, let's say, 5, 15, 30, 50 agents that all go out and then work collaboratively to get the jobs done. So this is when you're doing much more sophisticated work with a lot of data. You can think about Storytel as like sending out a fleet of agents to go get that work done.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think this would answer fast if we try here now?
Well, Deep Intelligence tends to take anywhere between a couple minutes. Some jobs run for a long time. Sometimes they run for 30 minutes. Automatic will choose between fast and expert. So you had it on auto, and so it's going to make a choice based on whether how complex your prompt is, basically.
Okay. Let me
You can
do
see that
like that.
Storytel is generating a presentation right now. Do you see right above reasoning process? So
Just
it's
one
actually
second. I'm upgrading my plan to Pro here as we speak.
okay. Cool.
Let me see if we can try that.
Yep.
Let me refresh the page. Okay, I should have access to all of these Pro features now.
Cool.
This is amazing. I'm going to be starting this again. You said that it's generating a presentation?
Yeah, so if you scroll down a little bit, we can see it's generating a presentation. So we'll give it a minute. But if you want to send another prompt off, you can.
Yeah. For example, here I can use a deep intelligence.
Yeah.
I could start a new chat as well, right?
Yeah, start a new chat. And
Is this
now that you have deep intelligence, we can use agents. And so let me show you how to do that. Let's imagine that you want to find people to invite to your next event. I'm just making this up, so you might have like a better version. But we could use the Explorer agent. So say using the, and then do at Explorer, using the @Explorer, and you'll see that there's an Explorer agent. Go find the 20 people in Sao Paulo, Brazil, that would be most interested in attending the next Vibe Space meetup based on the kinds of content that are in this project, which you put 2 transcripts in, right?
Yeah.
For each person, use the Scout tool to find their email address.
Do you need to use the @Scout? Or?
You actually don't need to add the Scout tool. You can just say Scout. Use the
nice.
Scout tool to find their email address and compose a short bespoke email to each of them for me to send. Okay. Let's give that a try.
And so I can see that you guys are working on the email integration and all eventually as well, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Soon Storytell will just put the draft emails into your inbox.
Wonderful.
Yep.
So this agent feature is also from the paid plan. I can't use this agent.
Yep. So it's deep intelligence that can use agents. You can click on that Explorer agent and it'll describe what it is.
Oh,
so it's got. Yep.
Okay. Well, it's paying off already. You just bought and it's giving.
And so, if you want to see it working, well, let's see what it's saying. So it says, "I'll launch multiple agents to research different angles." So it's going to launch agents here. And so now it's launching agents, right? So you can see that there's an agent, find AI startup founders in Sao Paulo, find AI investors in Sao Paulo. So each of these is an agent. You can open each of these up to see it work.
Top 3 most pertinent, more relevant demographics for me to invite for the events. That's correct.
Yep. So each of these agents now is off doing its work independently, and then they're going to come back and give you an answer. But you can also click in to see the details of each agent work. So there's like the task. You can click on the task, and you can see the actual task. So this is the task that is made for this agent to go do.
Okay. So there's the progress, and it's going to enrich the data and scraping emails as well, as I can see here, right?
Yep. So try, opening that up.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So this might take a few minutes to run. If you want, we could do some Q&A while it runs, whatever's helpful.
Yeah, let me just give a look on that presentation you told. It's actually creating a PPT or something like that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it created a presentation. This is amazing. It created a full presentation.
Yeah.
So founders in the community, you don't need to work anymore. You just pay $20 to do all the work for you. I'm laughing, but this is amazing. Okay, so we do have a very good comment here, DROdio, if you allow me, while the other agent is working. Amit from our New Jersey community is commenting, remarking that Storytell might seem like a misnomer for the amount of stuff that this app can do, right?
Yeah, it's actually, Amit, it's very, very, very interesting for you to say that, because we're actually going. So I wasn't going to talk about this publicly. This will be literally the first time that I tell anybody this outside the company. But we are rebranding Storytell, and we are.
Oh my God!
Yep, we are rebranding Storytell as chief.bot, and it's like a chief of staff. And the idea is that we're just really, really going to lean into all the things that you're seeing here. So as of mid-April, Storytell will be called Chief.
Chief, because it cooks, right? It can get you cooking very easy, right? Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it's you focus on the vision, it focuses on the execution.
But that's amazing. Could be your COO, right? As soon as it has these tools like to send emails, to do spreadsheets and all, I can see that become like a powerhouse, agent powerhouse out there, like a AI COO. Maybe it could be a chief enterprise office CEO sometime and run a whole company here, right?
Yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe that'd be pretty cool.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
So amid spot on, you just dug a revelation here. Thank you very much. We have a public announcement. Storytell AI is rebranding.
As chief.
Beautiful rebrand.
One other, by the way, let's say one other important thing. When you submit a prompt in Storytel, you don't have to wait. You can go submit another one. You can do like a new chat, new chat, new chat. It'll alert you when it's done. And so you see at the very top, it has a little status, like the very top bar. But even above that, like at the very top of your screen. Yeah, so like it'll tell you what the status is of your different chats, because we're really focusing on like long running tasks, right? So it's not just like chat response, like I was saying. It's like, hey, go out and find me these 20 people, go do deep research on all of them, compose, the email, go figure out from all my data, which ones I should be targeting. And then, like 30 minutes later, you've got it done.
Yeah. Like an employee should be fire and forget. And
Yeah,
if they need more information, they would notify you.
Yeah.
Did you think integrating that to WhatsApp, Telegram, SMS, like Cloudbot and these other agents?
So we're very focused on enterprise, and obviously OpenClaw is phenomenal, and also like the security vulnerabilities in it are intense. And so because we have customers like Paramount, for example, we just really focus on enterprise safe. We're SOC 2 Type 2, GDPR, HIPAA, and there's no LLMs trained on data that's put into Storytel. It's just a very safe place to put data. And so, yes, at 100% yes to the things that you're saying, and we're making sure that we do them in ways that work for the enterprise.
Yeah. Because unfortunately, like OpenClaw, some other alternatives out there, they are too vulnerable and too exposed, right? You do want to make it more enterprise ready.
Yep.
Gotta dress it up like a chief, right? Right. Wonderful. Any other feature, cool stuff?
Well, there's one other thing that gets to the data model in Storytel. So this is a little bit more technical, but it sounds like your audience might appreciate that. I don't know, because you don't have a lot of data in Storytel yet, so I don't know how much has populated, but we can try it, and I can also show you. I can share my screen to show you a demo project, but let's try it in yours just to see what's there. So when you load data into Storytel, what we do is we split it all apart, and then we figure out what the concepts are that are in your data, and we allow you to work with those concepts. So what is a concept? A concept is a theme or an idea or something that's in your data that we can attach a lot of unstructured data to. And so you can click on concepts, and you don't have a lot of data in here yet, so it's probably not going to look like much. But as you load data in, let me go to a demo project to show this to you. So give me 1 second. Yeah. So I'm going to pop open my screen.
Is this like a vector database or something like that? You're doing semantic search?
Yes, it is. So it's a dynamically created concept graph. Let me present here. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Okay. So tell me if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see the entire screen. Let me clean up the. Just 1 second. Go on.
So this is a demo project. So it's all synthetic data. It's a company called Huli, which you might, it's kind of like an inside joke.
Yeah, from Silicon Valley.
So these are so this is a graph of the concepts that exist inside this project. And first, let me just go to the library and show you. There's all sorts of different data in this project. There's a front-end engineer persona. There's a Huli customer churn analysis. There's a CSV with customer churn data. Again, this is all synthetic data. But there's all sorts of different types of data in this project. And so what Storytell does is it finds all the concepts that are in this data, and it lets you work with them. And so, for example, there's a concept here called Huli Strategic Product Ecosystem, or there's a concept called Huli Corporation's Evolution, or there's a concept called collaborative video engagement. Or I can define my own concepts that I care about. Maybe I care about, for example, high churn risk customers. And I want to know everything about high churn risk customers. And I want to be able to work with this concept. And so we can see that what's here is a timeline of all of the bits of data in the project that are about high churn risk customers. So I define the concept. Storytell goes and it finds all the snippets, all the little snippets. Like you can see that this one is called Critical Churn Indicators, and it's from a document called Huli Customer Churn Patterns. And so we've basically pulled together all of the little bits that have to do with high churn risk customers. Then now this is a queryable object. Now I can work with this. I can chat with this concept. I can also subscribe to this concept. I might say, send me an email anytime we have more high churn risk customers. And so if that makes sense, we're basically saying we allow users to be able to define a concept. We will worry about finding all the little bits of data in your project that have to do with that concept. Now it's an object you can work with. You could say, text the customer success team anytime there's a new high churn risk customer, or update Salesforce if high churn risk customers go beyond 10%, or whatever, anything, right? And so that's what it's all about, pushing signal into the destinations that matter. That's what concepts is about.
Interesting. We had a question in the chat from Amit as well, exactly about that, how the data would uh, like flow inside the platform when you have those chats, those tabs, and what would be the memory for each chat and agent, and how long would remember the conversation. So if I got it correctly, those concepts can be shared between chats and agents about these kind of topics, right?
Yep. So Storytell works with projects. You can make as many projects as you want. So think of a project as a defined space. You can invite people into projects. You can invite as many people as you want into a project. It's very easy to do that. In a project, you've got a library, and that library is what you put data into, and you can load data in. Then when you chat with that data, you've got a chat thread. And so in that chat thread, Storytell will have context across that chat thread. Now, if you spin up a new chat thread, you're starting fresh from a new context window. The new chat thread is a new agent. It doesn't know anything about that past chat thread. However, on any chat thread, there's an add to library button, and you can add any of Storytell's output into the library as knowledge. And so if you work with Storytell to create an artifact like that presentation, you could add that into your library. And you can also, we didn't really talk about this yet, but you can label data. So you could label things. So you have a label that you can work with, and you can mention that label. So you can scope the data. You can do very sophisticated data fencing to be able to work with those different types of knowledge in your library, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Those labels are like categories, or it can be like name of a customer, or
totally. It can be anything. It can be anything. So there's labels. So you can label as many assets as you like with as many labels as you want. That's one level of data fencing. And then there's collections, which are groups of labels. And so that's very sophisticated Boolean searching, saying include these 5 labels in this collection. And then I want to mention and talk to that collection. Or you can say, make a collection of data that doesn't have this label in it, for example. And so we've got the files, you can label them, you can put them into collections, and that's all working with the files. Or you can just forget about all that and just let Storytell find all the concepts and just work with the concepts.
Amazing. Maybe to wrap up the interview, I would just like to recall that this was your insight that you had when booking Amri, and you saw all this data scattered. Now you kind of solved it with like a whole solution, achieve now
Yeah.
to sort of this initial
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Roddy, for the accomplishments with Storytell AI and now to become chief, right?
Well, it's a real pleasure to get to know you and your community. And I really like investing in founders and supporting founders. So feel free to send me an email if anybody wants to chat. You can find me on LinkedIn, DROdio, Twitter, DROdio. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
that's great.
yeah,
Well, thank you very much, Rodrigo. Thank you, all of you watching, all of you live here with us, and all of you watching this in the future. I guess we have a full plate here of content. It was half interview and half maybe workshop on data and you getting the best of your data. So full plate of knowledge for all of you building inside Vibe Space. So if you haven't yet, subscribe to the calendar. Subscribe here in the channel. We're going to get a lot of more cool content like that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Drolio. It was an
yeah.
amazing interview.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure to get to know you. All right, take care.
Yeah. Bye.